Hey Olive, Arlo, and Frank. It's your grandpa, and we're back in the book of Mark. We're reading chapter 8 today, and a couple chapters ago, Jesus fed 5,000, and here he's going to feed 4,000, and this is just the men, so it's probably a lot more than 5,000 and a lot more than 4,000. In those days, there was another large crowd with nothing to eat. So Jesus called his disciples and said to them, I have compassion on the crowd because they have already been here with me 3 days, and they have nothing to eat. If I send them home hungry, they will faint on the way, and some of them have come a great distance. So, of course, his disciples are going to say, yeah, we saw this play before. We know how it ends. But you're going to do it a different way this time, Jesus? You think that's what they're going to say? No, these guys are a real clown car. His disciples answered him, where can someone get enough bread in this desolate place to satisfy these people? He asked them, how many loaves do you have? And they replied, 7. Then he directed the crowd to sit down on the ground. After he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks, he broke them and began giving them to the disciples to serve. So they served the crowd. They also had a few small fish. After giving thanks for these, he told them to serve these as well. Everyone ate and was satisfied, and they picked up the broken pieces left over, 7 baskets full. There were about 4,000 who ate. Then he dismissed them. Immediately he got into a boat with his disciples and went to the district of Dalmanutha. So let's see what it says about Dalmanutha. Exact location is uncertain. Yeah, they don't really know where it is, but it's probably near Magdala, which is right there. Mary Magdalene came from Magdala. Then the Pharisees came and began to argue with Jesus, asking for a sign from heaven. Sorry about this. Then the Pharisees came and began to argue with Jesus, asking for a sign from heaven to test him. Sighing deeply in his spirit, he said, why does this generation look for a sign? I tell you the truth, no sign will be given to this generation. Then he left them, got back into the boat, and went to the other side. And he's like, go back and forth, back and forth. Now they had forgotten to take bread, except for 1 loaf they had with them in the boat. And Jesus ordered them, watch out, beware the yeast of the Pharisees and the yeast of Herod. So they began to discuss with one another about having no bread. When he learned of this, Jesus said to them, why are you arguing about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? Have your hearts been hardened? Though you have eyes, don't you see? And though you have ears, can't you hear? Don't you remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000? How many baskets full of pieces did you pick up? And they replied, 12. When I broke the 7 loaves for the 4,000, how many baskets full of pieces did you pick up? And they replied, 7. Then he said to them, do you still not understand? And it's an open-ended question. because none of them go like, oh no, wait a minute, I understand. And it's what he's asking us today. You know, we study this Bible and we pray and we do all that. But do we really understand? And you're not going to understand unless you just open your heart to it and pray that God will open your ears and open your eyes, and that you would be led to the Christian life day by day. Then they came to Bethsaida. They brought a blind man to Jesus and asked him to touch him. He took the blind man by the hand and brought him outside of the village. Then he spit on his eyes, placed his hands on his eyes, and asked, do you see anything? Regaining his sight, he said, I see people, but they look like trees walking. Then Jesus placed his hands on the man's eyes again, and he opened his eyes. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. Jesus sent him home, saying, do not even go into the village. And like Jesus always tells people, listen, don't you tell anybody about this. But they're just so happy. And this is somebody, this guy, I never noticed this before reading this. This reminds me of my buddy Clint. My buddy Clint has type 1 diabetes. He went blind when I think he was around 16 or 17 years old. He drove a car. He looked into a girl's eyes, and then that left. I think it's different, and I don't know. I've never been blind. I can close my eyes, but then I open them up, and I can see. So I can't relate to what it would be like to be blind from birth or to lose my sight. So I don't know, but it seems to me that if you were blind from birth, that's what you know. But if you lose your sight, that's something that you think about all the time. Wow, if I could only see again. And this guy, now he can. He's probably going to blab. Then Jesus and his disciples went to the villages of Caesarea Philippi. And so we're talking about the very top of Israel. On the way, he asked his disciples, who do you say that I am? They said, John the Baptist. Who do people say that I am? And they said, John the Baptist. Others say Elijah, and still others, one of the prophets. And he asked them, but who do you say that I am? And Peter answered him, you are the Christ. So he's saying, you're the Messiah. Then he warned them not to tell anyone about him. So it's funny because a couple chapters ago he was sending them out to tell everybody about him. So let's see where else we're going to go here. Then Jesus began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and experts in the law, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He spoke openly about this. So Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. So Peter's like, no. Who do you think you are, Jesus? You're going to die and raise from the... Hey, who do you think you are? Yeah, Peter is the driver of the clown car. But after turning and looking at his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, get behind me, Satan. You are not setting your mind on God's interests, but on man's. Then Jesus called the crowd along with his disciples and said to them, if anyone wants to become my follower, he must deny himself take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life because of me and because of the gospel will save it. For what benefit is it for a person to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul? What can a person give in exchange for his life? For if anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will also be ashamed of him. When he comes, will also be ashamed of him when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. So that's when the saints go marching in, and I want to be in that number. I'm going to be in that number. Not by anything that I did, but what he did. And I'm looking forward to when he returns with the holy angels. And hopefully you are too. Peace out.